sons and daughters.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Aurora Smedley podcast, where I speak with you about what the world needs to hear. And in today's episode, I'm going to be discussing how to overcome doubt and fear. Doubt is so ubiquitous for so many people. We all experience doubt in our lives, whether it is asking somebody out, whether it is embarking on a creative project that we care deeply about. Whatever the situation may be, we often come head to head with doubt in our lives. So in this episode, I'm going to be chatting about how to shift doubt, how to rise above doubt, how to move past doubt in our life. And the first thing to realize is that when doubt is coming up for you, it means that you are growing. When doubt is coming up for you, it is because you are stepping outside of your comfort zone. You are stepping outside of what you used to be, what your previous identity was. So doubt is actually the ego's self-preservation mechanism. Doubt is there for the ego to try to maintain its control over who you are. It is the ego's way to maintain itself. When you have a certain self-perception, the doubt comes in order to maintain that self-perception. Doubt counters you when you are growing. When you are expanding, as you are moving into the ever ongoing expansion of your greatness, you are going to experience doubt as you are expanding. And so if you are experiencing doubt, then this is actually a good thing. It is a good sign. It means that you are growing. It means that you are stepping outside of your comfort zone. Because if you didn't feel any doubt, if you didn't feel any resistance to what you're doing, it means that what you're doing is actually totally within your current identity and is not moving outside of what you can and will become. In other words, it is not expanding yourself. It is not pushing you to become more than you previously were. So any amount of doubt is signifying that you are growing, that you are expanding, that you are moving into more than you previously were. We also need to understand that the doubt is giving us an opportunity to overcome it. That the value of doubt in our life is to give us an opportunity to choose to overcome it, to choose to expand beyond it, to choose to become more than we previously were. Anytime that doubt is coming into our lives, it is an opportunity for us to rise above it, for us to rise beyond it. So how do we actually overcome this doubt? How do we overcome it? How do we move into this expanded version of self with as much ease as possible? And this comes down to connecting to all that is, to connecting to your essence that is beyond your current identity. There is a thing that we are that is beyond our physical body. Our soul is beyond our physical body. Our intelligence is beyond just our localized human intelligence. And this greater knowing that we have, this access to this greater knowing, is what enables us to connect to something that is greater than the doubt, greater than the fear, greater than our human bodily sensations. And while we can counteract our doubt through pure force of will, what I find is more effective is connecting to this greater universal intelligence. When we connect to this universal intelligence, we have the understanding, the strength, the knowledge that elucidates to us what the real purpose is of our actions, of our movement, of the thing that is conjuring doubt for us. So we need to recognize that doubt actually does not come from quote unquote low self-esteem. It does not come from these things. Doubt is an opponent which signifies to us that we are expanding. Doubt comes to us when we are given the opportunity to grow, when we are given the opportunity to rise above it. And this brings into light the concept of courage. So often, courage is seen as being the absence of doubt and fear, the absence of any of these negative emotions, and perhaps sometimes that is what it is. But I feel that courage is actually expanding beyond the limitations of the doubt and fear that we experience in order to access this greater knowing, to access this greater understanding that this action that we're taking, that this path that we're taking, that this expansion that we're embarking on is the thing that is going to grow us. To create an example from my own life, when I was about to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, this had been something that I had been dreaming of. This had been something that I had been wanting to do for over 5 years. And I was terrified because I didn't know anybody that had really done this same kind of thing. I didn't know if I had the know-how or the skills or the abilities to actually hike from Mexico to Canada. For context, for those of you who don't know, the Pacific Crest Trail is a long distance backpacking trail that goes from Mexico to Canada. And I hiked from Mexico to Canada, from the Mexican border to the Canadian border, for over 2,000 miles. And as I was considering hiking the PCT, as I was thinking about it, and as I was preparing for it, and even as I was going to the trailhead, I was feeling so much doubt and fear. And I had also pushback from friends and family members as well, because they didn't understand why I was doing it. And so they were saying things that didn't make me feel more confident about doing it as well. And so I was absolutely terrified when it came to doing this. And I felt so much fear. I felt so much resistance. I was very concerned as well that I might hurt myself out there, that I could even die on the trail. And there was a lot of internal conflict. There was a lot of doubt that was coming up for me as I considered going on the trail. And once I moved through that doubt and I started hiking on the trail, I found that hiking on the PCT created so much personal growth for me that I couldn't have possibly imagined it otherwise. That it was an amount of personal development of depth that I was able to create within myself from hiking the PCT that I could not really have imagined it otherwise. So the doubt, the fear, this was all protection of my former self. This was a former version of me that was trying to protect me from this greater enlivened version of myself. And as I explained too, sometimes this doubt comes externally as well. We want to receive validation and support from other people, from our friends, from our family, from our loved ones. We want to feel that we are supported, that other people have unshakable faith in our ability to be successful, to realize our dreams. But the reality is that oftentimes people do not believe in our dreams as much as we do. And so we not only have to face our internal doubts, but also these external doubts of people that are speaking negatively about our dreams, that do not believe in our dreams, that do not believe that we can do it, that do not believe that we are capable of achieving the things that we are setting out to do. And so these doubts, these external doubts, these external things are sometimes even more difficult to push past. When we have our own internal doubts, the external ones are mirroring and echoing the internal doubts that we have. They're magnifying our own internal conflict, our own internal dialogue that we should not move forward with what we care so deeply about. So in the case of all of this, what we have to do in order to rise above these doubts, both internal and external, is to connect with the essence that is beyond what we are individually, to connect with the essence that is our greater intelligence, i.e., the universe. Because I think many of us have a core sense of what we want, who we want to become, what we want to do in our time here on Earth. And this knowing is a seed within us that we need to water in order for it to sprout. And as we continue to water this, as we continue to connect to this seed, as we continue to believe in it and feed it with our belief, our words, and our actions, this is what enables this essence to become realized in physical reality. And to expand on this idea of external doubts, not only is there internal doubts, not only are there external doubts that come from other people in our friend group, but there's also external doubts that come from society, in that we see these images of what we should be, what we should want, what we should become on our Instagram, walking around in real life. We see examples of what we are supposed to be, supposedly, according to certain other people's standards of what is success, etc. And so in all of these situations, it's so easy to start comparing, to start doubting, to no longer believe in the vision that we have internally. But through all of this, we have to trust that as we connect to this internal compass, as we connect to this internal wayfinder that we have, we are able to realize and manifest the true essence of what we are and all of what we are becoming. A more practical suggestion that I have in relation to this is disconnecting from electronics and all sorts of external media in order to, for instance, go for a walk or spend time outside, so that you can reconnect with your inner dialogue. There's so much noise in our society telling us that we need to be this way, that we need to be that way, that we should be this, should be that. And we see all these images and recommendations from supposed experts on how we should be living our lives. But when we tune out of all of that, when we connect with ourselves, is when we find the real answers to our questions, answers that are beyond our human knowing, beyond our logical mind, beyond the rational. And this enables us to connect with our true essence. And if we are consuming too much media, if we are consuming too much YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, it can become much more difficult for us to connect with that true essence. So as we learn to disconnect from the internet in order to connect with ourselves, we can go for these long walks. We can go spend time outside in order to align with what is true for us, to align with a vision that is beyond doubt. Another aspect of this as well is that Demonstrating that we are beyond doubt requires action. It is through our actions that we physically demonstrate to the universe that we are beyond doubt, that we believe in what we're doing, that we trust in universal intelligence in order to take us to exactly where we need to be. So every time that we're experiencing doubt, we need to connect to this larger intelligence and then take action from a place of that connection. Take action from a place of that truth rather than from the place of this reactive, this chattering, this external chatter, which is the doubts and fears that we have inside of us, which is the limitation of our doubts. And as we continue to overcome these doubts, we are able to align with higher and higher versions of our destiny, with higher and higher versions of our overall life outcome. So with that, I thank you very much for listening to this podcast. Thank you for commenting and liking my work. I really appreciate your questions, and I look forward to seeing you in the next podcast.